Hello, everybody. Thanks for choosing this session, which hopefully will be a very exciting session. My name's Suzan Sakarya. I'm really happy because I don't really have to talk that much for this session. You're very lucky. You won't have to hear from me. Like I say, I'm Suzanne. I am the Senior Manager for Security Sales at Jamf. And I came to Jamf as part of the Wandera acquisition about 3 years ago now. So it's really exciting to be here, really exciting to be on this stage, and most of all, really exciting to be talking to our customers. Now, we did this session in Amsterdam and in Berlin as well, and we clearly had a lot of customers that have been with us for a lot of time. So I wanted to see from the audience, by raising your hands, how long you've been with Jamf. So let's go back from the beginning. Who's been with us since 2019? 2015? 2010? Ooh, 2008? 2007? All right, I think we've got a winner. 2010 is our longest customer, so thank you for your service, sir. As Sam was talking about earlier, we've gone through a huge transformation in our 22 plus years at Jamf. A huge transformation since our infancy, and you've probably come to know us or came to us because we are the leaders in Apple management. And we are, but since then, we have expanded our capabilities exponentially, especially in the security space, which is why I'm here today. Because our customers have realized they need to manage their devices, but they need to secure those devices as well. The world has changed, devices have changed, people have changed, our data is everywhere, our devices are everywhere, and our users are everywhere. So making sure that those devices are managed and secured is really, really important. So we need to be able to support our users wherever they are, wherever their data is, and we are always there to help our customers on their journeys. And every journey with Jamf is slightly different. So today we're going to talk about some of those journeys and through the stories of our customers. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the team that I have on stage today. Paul.
Hi everyone, my name is Palm Jutler. I work for the University of Warwick and I am the product manager for end user devices.
Hello, I'm also from the University of Warwick. My name is John Nadley. I'm the Apple platform specialist. I have to be careful what I say because my boss is here. And yeah, thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm the owner of Acorn Consultants and I'm here representing the Social Security Directorate of the Scottish Government and discussing their journey of Jamf so far.
Hi, I'm Tim. I'm working for the University of Wolverhampton as a digital architect. I'm concerned with everything Apple and Linux at the university.
Let me pass it back to you. Oh, I'll hand it back. So as I said, each of these customers has got a very different journey, and I'm sure all of you out there have had different journeys as well, but hopefully you can resonate with some of the things that we're going to talk about today. So first off, we're starting kind of from the beginning. You had some devices, Palm, that were managed, but mostly unmanaged, but the call came down from Central to change that, didn't it? Tell us more about that.
It did. So let me take you back to 2014. I was working for Warwick Medical School at the university. There was another role within another team in one of the other IT teams where there were a lot of Macs and a lot of Apple devices that were in circulation. And those teams were satellite IT teams. They weren't part of the central function, so we did value-add stuff. And we had work areas with computers in them. A lot of our academics used mainly Mac devices. And the team there had already invested into Casper Suite, as Jamf Pro used to be, some of you remember that. I came in and started to help to manage that. So central IT didn't want to manage Mac, didn't want to look at Apple, didn't understand, didn't care, didn't exist. And so we carried on managing those devices. So roll on a few years, we probably got to 4 or 5 or even 600 or 700 devices under our management. But again, centrally, they still didn't want to manage anything, and they didn't take any of that kind of stuff on. Roll on a few more years, we had a new management structure come into central IT, much more commercial, much more looking at the whole picture of what services we offered, both as a central IT function and as the satellite IT teams as we were. As is the case when these guys come in, they want to do audits, so we had a whole bunch of internal and external audits. And one of the things that transpired from that and became really clear was the realization that we had many, many more devices that were not managed than we had managed devices, and Apple was one of those areas. We also had pressure from faculty, so other departments were seeing what we were doing in the School of Life Sciences, and they were saying, well, our academics are asking for these devices, and we're saying no to them because we've got no way of managing them. Can you come and help us to do this? Can you come and do this? So, there was that additional pressure from faculty as well. Roll on a few more years, and after all the audits were done, they came to us, and we were a team of 3. They came to us and said, would you like to come down and set up an managed Apple platform centrally? So we accepted that invitation, and ultimately I ended up mainly looking after that. So I went through being the Apple platform specialist to being the Apple platform manager to now being the end user device manager. What did we want to achieve? Well, we had a bit of a Wild West kind of thing going on where different departments were setting up Apple devices in different ways, from handing out devices straight to the user and off they go, local accounts and happy days, or they were configuring them potentially badly themselves, or any other myriad ways of setting those up. So we wanted to bring all those unmanaged devices in, have the level of uniformity with those builds so that we were setting a baseline security level. And we started building this out. And the aim was to get to 100% managed, or as close to 100% managed devices as we could. So let's aim for uniformity. Let's aim for visibility of devices. Once you can see what you have, you can then deal with the security baselines, et cetera, et cetera. So, those were really our key drivers. So to give you an indication, we started doing Mac enrollments universally in August 22, and iOS followed on in April 23. We went from those 600 or so devices in our department to now just under 4,000 managed devices enrolled in Jamf. So actually it's been quite a successful rollout in terms of getting people onboarded, getting to that uniformity of build, getting to that visibility of devices, and making sure that we've got the compliance and security baselines in place.
I know when we spoke last week, compliance was very important to you. What would you say the most important features are within the solutions that you have?
So we have a lot of builds. We have a huge amount of builds, from standard sort of staff and professional services builds, research builds, but then we also have a whole bunch of other builds around loan devices, teaching devices, lab devices, work area devices, outreach devices. So for us, pre-stage enrollment is really, really important with the DEP enrollment. It means that we can really quickly have these devices set up in the correct bucket in School Manager. It pulls it across into Jamf, and once it's in Jamf, we've done all the legwork of building those correct builds. And so the machines are always set up with the least amount of work for us, okay? It means that we can pass off some of that work to our service desk and to our desk side rather than it coming up to a third level development team. Patch is a really important thing for us as well, and certainly now with that catalogue, that's really made that really powerful for us. if we go back a couple of years, when I was setting up the Apple platform, I was the platform specialist and the platform manager and the security guy and the guy doing the comms and the guy doing the website
Not busy then.
and everything else. So I didn't want lots of multiple systems. So I know a lot of folks will use Auto-Package and Auto-Packager, for example, to do packaging and pushing out of apps. And we used to use it on our older systems. I decided not to use it this time round and actually just to use patch management. And knowing that App Catalog was coming along as well. So when App Catalog's come along, that's really changed things for us and made life a lot easier with having all those pre-packaged apps. It means our patching levels, you know, we see a lot of green dials on our dashboards, which is a good thing. And so those are probably the three of the main areas that have helped us get, you know, to a happy place.
What feature would you like to see next from Jamf?
Oh, so I'd like in Jamf App Catalog to be able to do things like adding license files and things. So, for example, Office, whilst we're all logging to 365, there are certain devices like travel devices or work area devices where you may want to use a volume license. It'd be great if within the workflow in Jamf App Catalog, you say, well, here's the Microsoft installer, and here is our serializer that Microsoft give us, and it just goes and does all the stuff in the background for you, and then allows you to deploy straight out without having to then sit there, package, and sign, and upload, and you know, do all the legwork. If you could have that level of automation, I think that would be a really, really cool thing to have.
We've got some nods on the stage. Have we got some nods in the audience as well? Yes, great. And any advice for any other organisations that might be in a similar situation where they've got unmanaged devices and where to start?
Comms, sell it to your workforce. We did an awful lot of comms. Traditionally, the old IT services as it used to be before we were transformed, or they were transformed when we joined them, were traditionally terrible at communicating. It was too complicated, it was too long, it was delivered in the wrong ways. So one of the things that I was very keen on was to make sure that the language we use was much clearer, the text we gave was much smaller. And we actually said, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this because of this. Where does it help me? Well, it helps you like this. What are the benefits for me? Well, these are the benefits for you. What are the benefits for the organisation? Well, these are the benefits for the organisation. And I think if you can pull people along, because academics, and these guys will probably, you know, join in with me, academics don't always want to do what you ask them to do.
Problems with authority, hey?
Yeah, so, you know, you've got to give them a valid reason to bring their devices in. And I think, you know, from the original tranche of comms, I think myself and a couple of my colleagues went through those and really worked quite hard to make them much more digestible, and much more, because academics are busy, they don't want to read 3 pages of text about endpoints and you know, digital strategies and whatever. They just want to know, what am I doing with my device and what am I going to get out of it if I do it? Is it going to make it less usable? For us, it was massively selling the comms and encouraging those people to come over.
I think that's so important to explain to users what the benefit is for them. They're much more likely to do what you need them to do.
And in really simple language, and in really, you know, words they understand.
Yeah, thank you. So, Jordan, I'm going to use the C word, COVID.
No. Oh, no, don't say that.
So tell us how that changed things for you.
I think with COVID, I think with every kind of organisation, it was kind of a panic, you know, what do we do? I think with us, you know, we've got academics that live all over the world, work all over the world. You know, a lot of devices had to be sent out as well, and we did AD binding, so trying to author them was quite difficult when working from home. So a lot of discussion went on and kind of how do we do this? So yeah, it was just create a local account. We got a lot of desk side kind of going, what do we do? Because no one had prepared for this, so it was quite a difficult situation. Now, the problem with local accounts is it's not very secure, and our security teams weren't very happy. So we had to think of a way around that, and then Jamf Connect came along. which made the whole thing a lot simpler. We got in contact with our architects who, got this really great thing, can we do it? And they were really great with us and, said, absolutely, let's get it done. So we did a lot of testing, which, I think in any environment, test is really important. And then because of that, we could build it into Debt Notify. So it was a lot easier to send devices with a single touch kind of build. It makes it a lot easier for our users. They can build off campus and, our security teams are happy, which is what you want. You want everyone to be happy and make it nice and simple and easy.
Can you talk a little bit more about how it improved the user experience?
Yeah, so I think, as I said, our desk side teams were really kind of panicking at that point. What do we do? So to be able to kind of just make it a lot more streamlined, which I think what a lot of our users want. Yeah. That's really important. And I think, the way it's going, kind of authenticating, it's getting even more simpler, which is fantastic. And it's also secure, and with our single sign-on, it helps with that as well going forward. So, there's a lot of talk of platform single sign-on, which I think we're excited about and we want to test. So going forward, that would really help us out as well.
And your favourite feature?
My favourite feature probably is downloading packages. We have a lot of weird and wonderful apps that academics like to use, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. If an update comes out, got different configurations, so it's just nice for me to quickly just I can click download rather than trying to do a nice policy of bringing it down. Yes, that's really one of my favourite features at the moment.
Nice. Something that I forgot to say at the beginning is that we have the app. Hopefully you've all downloaded it. And if you go into the session now, you can write questions for a Q&A, which we'll have at the end. We've got people with microphones as well if you haven't downloaded the app. So if you've got any burning questions, there will be some time to ask this team at the end. No pressure, guys. And so, Chris, over to you. So you had a slightly different journey with Jamf in that it was already set up, but it wasn't set up very well.
I wouldn't say it was bad, but it was more cluttered. So when I got into Social Security Scotland, it was just poorly maintained, I think was the biggest issue. Like, rogue packages and policies everywhere, pushing app versions that were like 12 months out of date at enrollment. So it was very much a case of sitting down with the client, or me, and just trying to start from fresh, build a very unique roadmap for them and get them to stick to it, because it's very hard in government with all the different politics and policies, and everybody wants to do things differently just to get everyone to do the same thing, because you had several different teams wanting to do different things and having their own ideas, and you have to go, hang on, let's just get everyone to a baseline doing the same thing, and then we can manage it further from there. So it's been really fun so far with them. Everyone's enjoying Jamf, to the best of my knowledge.
And they were thinking about getting rid of it at one point, weren't they?
Yeah, so I was actually brought in to help phase out the Macs and help phase out Jamf. We weren't going to renew this year, but through actually showing them how to manage the Macs properly and how to utilize Jamf to its fullest potential, we've since renewed with Jamf, and I just got a notification yesterday. We've just finalized the purchase of Jamf Protect, so that's a massive step forward in the right direction. And then we've also just bought 100 new Macs to start phasing out old tin, I like to call it, start phasing out old kit and start bringing the environment up to 2024.
So from a situation where they wanted to get rid of all the Macs, they've actually ended up buying more Macs.
Yeah, it's just all through the power of Jamf, really. Getting the client to realize how useful the tool can be when you utilize it correctly, which I think a lot of customers do find themselves in those situations where they might have the products, they might have the tools, but they don't necessarily have the specialist resource on site to help build it, essentially.
So what advice would you give to people in that position?
Well, there's only really two things you can do. I would recommend definitely speaking to your account manager at Jamf. That is number one. Or even speaking to your account manager at the channel partner that you bought the licenses from. Both of those people will know who you can speak to if you are struggling with the product or struggling with Macs or in any way, shape or form. Just speak to your AC, really.
Let's talk a little bit more about Jamf Protect. Yeah. So did you test it alongside other solutions? What did you like about it? What were the things you learned?
So for me, Jamf Protect, and for the client as well, Jamf Protect is specifically built for macOS. It uses the native macOS security frameworks and all the tools there. It's not adding anything major to macOS, so it's not inhibiting the the user's performance, the Mac's not slowing down. So the client really liked that. And we actually have 4 security tools in place at the minute doing the job of what Jamf Protect could do. So not only is it more efficient for the users and for the Macs, but also from a cost-saving perspective. The user thought it was an all-round great product, and when we measured it against Apex One, for example, it just blows it out of the water completely.
What were the things so apart from the cost saving, clearly, because it's you can consolidate the security solutions that you're using, were there particular features specific to Mac that were of benefit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the obviously the custom analytics are brilliant. So that was something the client was really interested in, being able to set up our own sort of automated processes for threats and alerts that we get. So they were really impressed with that feature. And then obviously the auditing part of Jamf Protect as well. So being able to audit our estate against SIS1 or SIS Level 2, Jamf's own security policies. They love all that, and it's just so easy to just look at it and go, oh, our estate's 80% compliant, or our estate is 60% compliant. And then you have a very clear roadmap on, right, let's implement these changes. Whereas before it was, you know, everyone's like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. You've got security fighting with procurement, or you've got all these different teams talking. It's very clear. You just look at it and away you go.
And what's your favourite feature? What do you like best?
At the minute, I'd say in my current situation would be deck enrollment, ADE. It's fantastic, and it's made everyone's lives so much easier. And with the advancements that we keep getting with Apple Business Manager, the integrations there, and obviously the more and more tools that are becoming available for ADE, it's brilliant.
And what feature would you like to see next?
You've kind of already done it with Jamf Connect, to be honest. If you had asked me like 2 months ago or 3 months ago, I would have said native user enrollment within Jamf Connect, because I've been banging on about it for years. And you've finally done it. So not to cop out, but yeah, that is something I would have liked to have seen. Or maybe adjusting smart group criteria sets within the actual smart group itself, instead of having to delete it and re-add it again. But yeah, the Jamf Connect would be the main one.
So you've got Jamf Pro, now you've got Jamf Connect, and now you've got Jamf Protect. We spoke a little bit last week about ZTNA and where you're at in that journey. It's something that you're interested in, but not quite there yet. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't have Connect at the minute because of internal arguments, let's say. We're not allowed to get anywhere near the IDP because we use Okta, which is, even better for Jamf Connect. But it's all about process, internal process. I'm really pushing to get us to go down the Jamf Connect route because it would just make things so much easier for the end users. A little bit more complicated for the admins initially, but it's all about the end users, and that's what I'm trying to push across. Hopefully, before the end of the year, we might have Jamf Connect and we can have all 3 products then. But for now, we are fairly early on in our ZTNA journey. And hopefully, sometime soon we can get it.
I think a lot of people are in your situation where, ZTNA is such a big topic, and Gartner predicted that 60% of organizations will have moved away from their VPN in favor of ZTNA by 2023, but I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah,
we're not quite there. And I think that's partly because the technology wasn't quite ready at the time. It was difficult to integrate with solutions that customers already had. Whereas now it's moved along a bit further. So we're speaking to many customers who thought they'd start their ZTNA journey a few years ago, but they're actually only just starting it now. Hands up if that's the case for you guys. A few hands up. So yeah, I think you're not alone.
Yeah, we're certainly not alone, but we're trying to speed things up.
Good. Well, by the end of the year, I'll hold you to that.
Please don't.
So Tim, I'll move on to you now. Again, another different journey. You were with Jamf, moved away from Jamf, but you came back.
Yes. So when Wolverhampton hired me back in 2016, they hired me as a senior systems engineer Linux. And that's what I've done before, yes? And as part of my sort of recruitment package, I said, look, I have to work on a MacBook Linux doesn't run on laptops, so I need something to work on. And they said, oh, brilliant, yes, we just had this failed management project and we have this Casper software here, so Tim, don't you want to manage our Mac estate? I said, all right, I'll have a look into it. And oh boy, I wasn't happy with Jamf back then, yes? So it was kind of I mean, I understood the concept and I saw it's a framework to manage Macs, but there was no workflow in Jamf, not at all. Jamf didn't even understand the concept of a software package. Yes, you could install them and things like that, but the whole workflow, you had to implement it yourself. You ended up with smart groups, with policies, like 3 policies per software version, etc., etc. So I wasn't too happy with it, but I made work with it, and we got on. We onboarded the first Macs. We used automatic device enrollment, DP at that point, and we were getting on all right. However, Jamf then also didn't offer us the ability to install our own packages during enrollment. Yes, that was strictly only for the Jamf Quick Add package at that time, so we couldn't do anything, and AirWatch supported that. And coincidence had it, we had an AirWatch license flying around, because at some point, you know, VIP lost their phone and they thought, oh, we have to do something, we have to get something in, so we had that AirWatch license, and I tested AirWatch, it worked fine, so we didn't renew our Jamf contract. And, well, turns out Jamf acquired Nomad at that time, which was our primary login solution, rebranded it as Jamf Connect. They implemented installing of packages during automatic device enrollment. And I don't know, AirWatch was acquired by VMware and it didn't really go too well. So at the end, we came back, we renewed, and now we're a happy Jamf customer. And also Jamf has come a long way, yes? So again, at that time, I said, purely framework, you had to implement everything yourself in policies, and now we see the adoption of workflow, yes? We have Jamf app installers as a thing, we have patch management as a thing, so we are getting there, yeah? When in the old days, I used Monkey to install all the packages, because Monkey understood that packages have a version, that packages are upgraded, etc. Now, happy Jamf customer, using app installers, Jamf Auto Update customer, very good, very good. And that's especially important in universities where you have a huge variety of packages. Yes, in an enterprise, you might end up with your standard software and maybe a few business applications that you need. While in a university, you have so many people asking for this, asking for specialist software, so that we end up, I think we have maybe around 200 different software packages in our portfolio. So, yeah. That's our journey.
And from a security perspective, so you onboarded Jamf Protect, you looked at other solutions as well. You're not a big fan of AV solutions. Can you talk to us more about that?
I've never been a fan of traditional antivirus. Yes, it's horrible. I consider it snake oil, and also the antivirus vendors, traditional I'm saying, yes, the ones from the olden days, they tend to hook very deep into the operating system kernel. They come with scan engines for obscure formats like WordPerfect from the 90s. They still somehow try to interpret the WordPerfect file, and they are full of security flaws themselves, yes? So that's nothing really I wanted on my Macs, and they are notorious for slowing down the system, yes? Anyone had the one with the S at the beginning? So, yes, that's nothing I wanted, and whenever they asked me about security software, antivirus on the Mac, I said, yeah, we're using Gatekeeper, we have MRT, and we have Xprotect running. It's very good. We're happy. And then Jamf came along with that Protect product. I had to look into it. It works along the operating system. It basically does what Apple wants a security vendor to do. Yes, it uses the kernel interfaces properly. It doesn't try to delve into the kernel by itself, but it doesn't work anymore anyway. So we onboarded Protect as part of our CE journey, really. Yes, CE came, and all of a sudden we had to do something. And yeah, we're happy with Protect. It's a very good software. It almost falls out of the box as it is. Same defaults, you can just deploy it. It doesn't bother you or anything, so it's very nice.
And you, as part of Cyber Essentials as well, that was when you introduced your mobile devices, is that right?
Oh yes, Cyber Essentials brought a lot of change into the university. Our director at that time had the idea that we just put everything in scope of Cyber Essentials. Yes, I've heard from other organizations where they have the Cyber Essentials PC somewhere in the corner. But for us, it was like everything. So all of a sudden, we had to know every single device that accesses business services. We implemented device compliance. We onboarded all the BYOD phones. We don't do BYOD laptops at the moment. So only BYOD phones and iPads. We employed user enrollment for BYOD phones to find a way, privacy preserving, etc., etc. I don't want to know what people have on their personal phones. So yes, that brought big change.
And BYOD is something that we're hearing more and more. I mean, we've been hearing about it for the last 15 years, but I think everybody was a bit too scared to do anything about it. But we were just at Info Security a couple of weeks ago, the biggest cybersecurity event in Europe, and the main things that people wanted to talk about were mobile, consolidation of security solutions, and BYOD. How do I provide secure access to my business applications without compromising my users' privacy for devices that I don't manage myself? So BYOD is something that a lot of people are looking at. Did you find it quite difficult, or?
It was difficult at the beginning, and there are lots of challenges, especially at universities. So many people are hanging around that are only, let's say, loosely associated. Yes, we are visiting lecturers, we are visiting researchers that are just there for a bit. We have hourly paid staff who just come to deliver one lecture, and that's it. And we had to integrate those people somehow. So yeah, that was challenging at the beginning. We sent out a lot of comms. We explained to people that, look, if you enroll your phone, we don't see your personal photos. We can't wipe your phone. Yeah, we can lock it, but we won't do that. So yes, it was a long journey in comms, and also a lot of hand-holding at that time to get people to proper enroll their device, not to do any mistakes. This two-step process where you have to register your device in Entra ID afterwards took a lot of hand-holding. But I think it got more stable also over the time. I think we're seeing less and less problems with devices not being recognized as compliant immediately.
Great. And your favorite feature?
My favorite feature of Jamf, that must be automatic device enrollment. I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter that's under everything, that the device comes out of the box and is enrolled into some sort of management and then configured at the user.
Thank you. So I think the words that have come out for me today are compliance, ease of use, user experience, simplicity, automated enrollment. And so all of that together, you hopefully be able to see on this video. So in this scenario, our user is working on a computer that's out of date, as you can see. And the vulnerability management feature integrated in Jamf Protect indicates that some critical vulnerabilities have been detected in the Mac OS version, and therefore this computer is not considered secure anymore. So when we open the Jamf Trust app, we can see that the computer's risk level has been elevated from secure to high because of its out-of-date operating version. So according to our organization's policy, insecure devices should not have access to sensitive data. So we can verify that by trying to access the email inbox again. And as you can see, Jamf Connect ZTNA has just blocked access to Microsoft Outlook. So the only choice here is to update the computer as soon as possible. Thankfully, the IT team has started a company-wide OS upgrade campaign using Jamf Pro, using Apple's declarative device management architecture. And this is scheduled, a software update is scheduled to be triggered, and it will soon begin on the computer. So a few minutes later, this device will be updated, and it's ready to use again. And our user will then be able to log back in through the Jamf login window, and they can verify that this computer is now running the latest version of the Mac operating system. So then we can open up the organization's app. There you can see the right version is installed. So we'll open up the app again and try to access our email inbox again. And this time the network traffic is authorized. And we can check one last time in the Jamf Trust app, the device is back to secure. There we are. And the user can carry on with their daily tasks. So that's all of our solutions put together in one system. And that's what we mean when we say trusted access. We're offering a complete solution from enrollment to protecting your devices, linking them with your identity, so that only authorized users on enrolled devices that are secure and compliant can access your sensitive data. So, first of all, a big thank you to our guests. And now I think we've got a few minutes for questions. Yeah, just a couple of minutes.
I think this might just be a question for the gentleman at the end, perhaps, but I was interested to know if anyone on the panel had migrated from a previous MDM provider, and if so, what that experience was like, what hurdles you had, anything like that.
Well, when we migrated back and forth, it was quite rudimental at that time. So we didn't have all these fancy features like the account-based device enrollment that we have now and things like that. So basically we would unenroll and enroll, and it was a bit painful, but at that time, luckily, we hadn't that many Macs flying around, and we were also doing it gradually. Like we would onboard new devices on AirWatch from Jamf, and we would slowly migrate the old estate until our Jamf license was running out. So we had kind of a sliding window. It wasn't, okay, today one, tomorrow the other MDM. I think nowadays you're better off with what Apple announced at the WWDC. It'll be even better. You don't need admin rights to re-enroll anymore. You have this little profiles renew command where you can like trigger automatic device enrollment. So I think your life should be better these days. Can get more technical later. Read a bit about this.
Anyone else? Oh, one down there?
Hi.
Hi.
I come from a sort of Queen Mary University of London, so we kind of have similar challenges, I guess, with trying to provide a managed service to our academics and researchers. How do you handle sort of researchers needing to install applications when they need to? I mean, we get asked to say, well, we go to Amazon, we need to be installed something, you know, and we have no internet access. How do you handle that? Do you give them admin rights or local, or how do you handle that?
Should we, I'll pass it along.
So for a subset of our devices, we do give out admin rights. With the lapse stuff that's in Connect now, we will probably investigate that, won't you, Jordan? As a project, as a sprint. So yeah, whilst we currently have it, there's no easy way around it, because some of those apps that they need are crazy. And some of the ways they work is maybe non-standard. So at the moment, there is a subset that have admin. But yeah, we'll look into Labs to do that instead, to take some of that away.
One more question down there.
Yeah, this might be a question for all the panelists, but like with going from the level you're currently at with Jamf Pro, Protect, Connect, or Radar, what are your next steps? What are you trying to achieve within the next year or two in regards to Zero Trust? What are your approaches or anything in that regard? What are you hoping to achieve in that sense?
Awesome question. So I think for us at the government, the Scottish Government, I think what we want to do is get Cyber Essentials Plus certified, because that is the be-all and end-all. We can't really do that at the minute without Connect, and obviously Protect we've just bought. But I think the longevity of the macOS devices at Social Security Directorate is we want everyone doing the same thing and everyone to be a standard user, which they are currently, but everyone to have the freedom to move around on their Macs in a secure manner. So the way I've always thought about sort of Mac management is trying to make the user's life a bit easier, sort of take the technical thinking away from the user. And you have to be really technical to try and do that for them. And there's a lot of work that goes into it, but if you can achieve that, then you very rarely have any issues with users or apps not installing, things like that. So I think for us, Cyber Essentials Plus, but in a manner where the users don't really know about it, where the users can still continue to do what they need to on the Macs, install apps, run, code runner without any issues, run commands in terminal, but everyone's still fully compliant.
Now, as a member of the security team, it would be remiss of me to not mention our latest acquisition, Jamf Executive Threat Protection. For those of you who haven't heard of it, it's our advanced detection tool that's able to give detailed information as to whether your device has been compromised by a sophisticated spyware attack such as Pegasus. So we're not going to talk about it today. We're cutting into your lunch break already, but if you would like to see any demos of this solution, please come downstairs to level 2, go to the stand that says Jamf Products, and we can show you a demo. So if anybody's interested, please head down there. But for now, it's lunchtime, so thanks so much for attending, and we'll see you soon.